Grand Rising. What's going on? Wago on, beloved. This is your brother Chief, man. What it is, what it is, what it is. Let me make sure I got audio on Facebook. Hold on for 1 second. Give me 1 second, please. Give me 1 second. Grand Rising to each and every one of you. Yeah, we got audio on Facebook. Now you might hear a little beeping in the back. All right, that's the smoke alarm. I got to change the battery. I just heard that yesterday, so I got to change it. I know it could be annoying, but hopefully we don't hear too much of that. Okay, what it is, goddess, what it is, Empress Everlasting Waters. All right, do me a favor, everybody. Drop where you at so I could give you a shout out. Give your territory a shout out. First things first, though, I want to acknowledge our ancestors, all the ancestors. But for me personally, I glorify the righteous ones. You know what I mean? But I don't denounce the unrighteous ones because they were needed as well in this experience. Because remember, it's about the high, the low, the good, the bad, right? So somebody had to play the role of the villain. You feel me? And that was some of the responsibilities for some of the ancestors. So it is what it is. We got Florida in the building. What's good? What's good? Greetings, Mahogany. What it is? What it is? What it is? We got D. What's that? D. Fellergoon Walker. Let's just say my lineage Walker on Facebook. I didn't mean to butcher the name, right? But just wanted to give you a shout out. Okay. So what are we gonna do? Is we're gonna get into a quick little build. I saw was it TikTok? No, not TikTok. Instagram. I seen an Instagram video, and I would like to play that video, but at the same time, I'm going to kind of like break it down, make my comments and all that. I'm not gonna demonize the sister that did the majority of the talking or the speaking on in the video. However, I'm just kind of gonna put some things in perspective, right? I won't be able to rewind the video, so I'm just going to let it play and pause as need be. Okay. You could always go check it out on your own, but it's important that I go through this video and break this information down. All right. So this is what we're going to do. So please tune in. I know it's kind of early. If you missed the live, you definitely check out the replay and share the information. Okay. So let's get straight into this without wasting any time. I'm going to go straight to Instagram because I emailed the video to myself, so I have it here. We're gonna play that and pay attention, please. All right, let's get right into this, right into it. So here we are. Okay, the video already started kind of briefly, where our RFK, which is Robert Kennedy Jr. He's talking about his first statement was. Basically, he was insinuating that he's not the one in charge. And we already know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not sure who he's referring to as the people in charge or whoever is in charge. But even the president of the corporation is not in charge. And that's why a lot of people don't realize their vote don't really count. And I broke down videos on that. So I'm not going to beat that horse anymore. But the young lady's name is Vicky Dillard. And it says in the description of the video or the title of that video on Instagram, because I'm kind of breaking down the scene for y'all, right? Dillard corrects presidential candidate RFK's belief that courts won't grant Black reparations. Now, that alone in the heading, it's just saying a whole lot. And then, of course, I'm not sure who's in the background. The only individual I could really notice right there is Harriet Tubman. Okay, the other individuals I'm not familiar with, but I do see Harriet Tubman in the background, right? If anybody else know the other characters from the left to the right or the right to the left, it depends on your perspective, then you could post that in the description, all right? Which is not, to me, it's irrelevant, right? But bottom line is Harriet Tubman isn't there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Harriet Tubman. Okay. Harriet Tubman was, and some people are actually under the impression or the belief that Harriet Tubman was a fictional entity. No, she was not. She was real. And like I've said in many of my lessons and in my book, Genesis to Reevaluation, I give the direct connection and ancestry of that could be proven of Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was a Stuart, and Harriet Tubman was from the clan of the Stuart in basically Ireland, Scotland. Okay. And she was the direct descendant of the nobles of Scotland, of the Highlanders. Harriet Tubman was a Highlander. Okay. And she was a noble, a direct bloodline of the Stuart, the king, King Charles, King James, all of them. Okay. And when those people were brought into the Americas, they were brought into the Americas as nobility. Okay. That came here to run things. You see, everything is not what it is. So when she was fleeing, and she only freed about 70, they gave a specific number, 70 so-called slaves. Those people were actually her direct bloodlines. They were her relatives. They were nobility. And it was the indigenous people of the Americas, our people, okay, that showed them the underground that took them towards Canada, because we had an underground route or trail that went straight into Canada, because all these lands were connected, and they still are. We still have direct land masses that goes into South America, that goes into all different parts of North America, because we are one land mass, right? So with that being said, Harriet Tubman and her descendants, they were actually nobility. They were the ones that came here and set up the 13 colonies with, of course, the assistance of a lot of our ancestors, right? But Harriet Tubman wasn't the slave that people think she was. She was only freeing nobility, her bloodline, and that's facts. That's number one. So Harriet Tubman, in question, when it relates to reparations, that doesn't even equate, because she and her people were part of the problem. You feel me? So that's the first thing I'm going to address. The next thing I'm going to address is the belief. In the word belief is the word lie. So anytime you're dealing with a belief system, trust me, you're dealing with a lie. And then the court won't grant black reparations. The word black in itself is a problem, because one, we are not black. We are not black. Okay. And black means saliviter matus in law. What does that mean? Black means dead in law. They don't exist. So how can dead people be repaired? Furthermore, the word reparations, it means to repair. It only took on the energy or the concept, okay, or it was coined to mean getting money or getting paid. But the original meaning, etymology of the word reparations means to repair. It's right in the word. Reparations or para means peer or repair. Reparations, to repair. That's what it means. So what are we repairing from? Yes, do we need healing? Do we need to become whole? Yes, we are, because we are a damaged people because of what we went through. Whether it's us directly or it's our ancestors. Okay? But the bottom line is that hurt, okay, that trauma, it's been passed down. Now, do we need to get paid? Yes. But I have to break all of this down. So we're going to listen to the video. I'm going to pause where need be, make my comment, because I can't I can't go back in the video. I can't rewind. So I'm going to have to pause in between. But definitely you could go look that up on Instagram if you need to, and check it out yourself. All right, so let us go ahead and play this video.
That being said, Vicki Dillard and Anubis, welcome to the Free Think Zone. We've been having a great conversation. Vicki, I want to start with you, and that we've teed it all up, and you don't have to follow any particular question, but just what's on your heart, what's on your mind, and what would you like to ask and bring into this discussion with presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Indeed. Thank you so much for coming. I would like to talk about the Holocaust briefly, the Black Holocaust, the most devastating, human tragedy that has ever existed, that's lasted longer than any other for going into 500 years, that has neither ceased nor desist, and we have not received reparations.
All right, let me pause here for a second, right? So there's no such thing as a Black Holocaust. You feel me? In the sense of what she's talking about. Now, some people may say, well, Chief, you know what I know what she's talking about. No, I don't know what she's talking about. Because one, our people are not Black. Okay? We are indigenous people. It would have been more appropriate to say the Holocaust of indigenous people of the Americas. You did? That's the whole point. And you see a lot of people only like to equate being so-called Black to people in the United States. No, that's not true. It happened all over the Americas, all over the world. People of our hue are called Black people. In London, it's the same thing. You see, you have to travel to know these things. And it's only a Black Holocaust in the sense that we took on the identity of being Black. That's the Holocaust in itself, because Black means death. We took on the burden of the pale man, which is Black. That's who the real Black people are. Black really means pale when you look at the etymology of the word Black. So therefore, when we took on the curse of the pale people and started identifying ourselves as who they are, because Black means pale, those are the Black people. It had nothing to do with the color of skin. You feel me? Now you may ask, well, Chief, why is all that important? It is because in the beginning was the Word. And it's the Word that's going to set you free, or it's the Word that's going to make you enslave yourself. It's important that we get these things. And everything in manifestation, it manifested because of a spoken word. Because of a spoken word. Let there be, and there was. When we continue to identify ourselves as being Black, okay, what we are doing is we are putting that energy, okay, our energy, we are putting that behind the true meaning of what Black really means, which is pale. And that's why the pale people continue to be the ones getting paid, being in those positions, because why? We are giving Black energy, which means pale. We don't even realize that it's a reverse spell. We took on the curse of the pale man, which is Black. What happened in Europe in the 12, 13, 14, 15, 1600s, all the way up to almost the 1700s? They experienced the Black Plague. It did not say the White Plague. It said the Black Plague. Why is everything that's demonic, evil, is attached to Black? Because why? That's the connotation. So why are we calling ourselves Black? That is the first problem. So the first Black Holocaust is us accepting the ideology of us being Black, which we are not. That is self-destruction. It is self-destructive. We brought a death on ourselves by calling ourselves Black. So that was the first Black Holocaust. So don't tell me, because I know a lot of you are going to say this, oh, well, Chief, you know what she's talking about. No, I don't. I see things for what they are and not what you want me to see them to be. Okay? So let's dive into this a little more. Let's proceed.
And just up from chattel slavery, convict leasing, and all of these other injustices, and under the heel of Jim Crow, our people went to Germany to fight Hitler to deliver some of the Jews from his hand, only for them to turn around and call some of us anti-Semitic. There is a multi-volume book that talks about the secret relationship between Blacks and Jews, because we know that some of the most damning and devastating effects that we've experienced in slavery had to do with members of the Jewish community. This is important to understand. Why am I bringing this up? Because our perspective of the world is unmatched in every way.
All right, let's pause here for a second. So let's deal with the situation where a lot of indigenous people were taken into, whether it's the military, the army, the navy, but anyway, the defensive forces of the United States to go fight their world war. I've already broken all this down for y'all, but I broke it down in detail, in chronological order in my book, Jennings History Evaluation, the first book. Okay? Let me put these things in perspective for my people. This is a two-part situation, or even a three or a four-part situation. What a lot of people don't realize is this: our people had as much of a hand to play in slavery as being the enslaver and also being the enslaved. You see, we got to know the true story and realize a lot of what we are dealing with is our karma. Okay? What this young lady don't realize is this: the people who owned and controlled Europe all the way up until 1901, Queen Victoria was the first pale-skinned nobility, okay, known on a global scale in Europe. She was the first in 1901. Everybody else before that were people of color. Okay? They were people of color. And they were the ones enslaving people in Europe. Not just pale-skinned people, but every ethnic group. They were the ones enslaving them. When we talk about East India, the East Indians, okay, when empires were set up by the British, guess who was doing the enslaving? It was people of color. Okay? When they first went into Africa and started setting up corporations, because everything had to be done through commerce, everything had to be done with consent. You see, these people know the spiritual ramifications of just doing things without the consent, whether it was known or it was unknown. Denounced to the people, that's irrelevant at this moment. The bottom line is they needed permission. Vampires don't just come into your house through the back door. No, they come in through the front door. They knock the door, and if you welcome them, then they come in and they suck your blood. Okay? It is the same energy, whether that energy come from the so-called black nobles or later the so-called pale nobles. I'm giving y'all facts. Okay? So the people who came here in 1492, they were people of color to enslave our people, indigenous people. So when we are talking about reparations, who are we asking reparations from? Are we asking reparations from the pale man because you think the pale man was the one who started it? No, the pale man only picked up the game. And I've given many instances, okay, or how would I put it? References or metaphors or analogies to break that down. Let me give you another one, which I've done in videos before. And I'm not promoting drugs by any means, because I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do none of that. I know that's not, and I'm not knocking anybody who do. If you do, that's your own thing. But what I'm saying is this: I'm equating this to the drug game, right? Give you an example. Let's just say I'm on the corner of East 45th. I'm talking about Brooklyn right now. East 45th and let's just say Church Avenue. And I'm controlling the entire block. I got the drug game on lock. Okay, you know what? Let's not use drugs. Okay. Let's say I own a food store, right? And I got the food game locked in Brooklyn. Everybody who needs food in Brooklyn got to come to me. Okay, because I'm selling all type of foods. Now, mind you, and we got it locked, me and all my peoples, right? So-called black people, we got it under control. And then all of a sudden, other ethnic groups were brought into Brooklyn and they started intermingling it for our people. Now, they did not come as bosses. They came as slaves and servants, like everybody else who came into the game. They need food from me. I'm the one they got to come to. But eventually, people started becoming communities. People started intermarrying. And all of a sudden, it started to become one people. And those same people that came in, they were not the ones in control. I was. But eventually, they took over the game. You feel me? They took over the game. And here it is. 500 years later, my children are blaming the people that took over the game, you feel me, for taking everything from them. When the truth of the matter is, it was the first set of people that looked like me that came into my hood and took everything from me. I hope that's making sense. I hope this is making sense. So, well, Chief, what are you saying when it relates to our people and slavery and all of that? What I'm saying is this: the analogy or the message behind the story is this. The people who came here and enslaved our people were people of color. So who should we be really asking if there was such a thing called reparations in regards to financial means? Who are we supposed to get it from? Aren't we supposed to get it from the people who came and enslaved us first? Why are we asking it from the people who took over the game? Now, I'm not saying that they are not supposed to pay either. You feel me? So these people have to know exactly what they are talking about when they are talking about reparations. Now, I don't know if they're doing it intentionally or they're just doing it because of ignorance, because they just don't know. Okay? And I'm more gearing too much they don't know. Because too many people that are so-called educated with all these degrees, they keep pushing reparations and black and black and black. And to me, it's either they're doing it intentionally or they just don't know. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they don't know. They cannot break it down or articulate these things the way I do because they have not done or they were not taught the true story. They were only taught what they were supposed to learn from the same people that they're trying to get reparations from. They're not going to tell you the truth. All right? All right, let's proceed. So, well, I have to finish another point. So when we are talking about our people, indigenous people, so-called black people that went and fought, you know, the world wars for the United States. It wasn't just here in the United States. Jamaicans, Haitians, Dominicans, Guyanese, people from St. Lucia, people from Guadeloupe, Martinique, the entire Americas joined the United States and went and fought their wars. So we have to stop excluding everybody else and think it's just so-called Black Americans was the one who went through this. We got to stop that. Okay? It happened all over the Americas. And the only and the reason why so-called Jews, they're so-called Jews, they are not the Jews. They're Jewish. That's why the so-called Jewish people and so-called black people were tight and have something in common is because, I'll tell you why, is because when these so-called black nobles came into the Americas, okay, they were enslaving everybody, including the so-called Jews that were banished from the Americas. So we had that connection because we all became the underdogs. So we fought together against the oppressive system. And you always have to ask yourself, well, hold up. If the United States is so-called white, okay, and I'm saying so-called for so-called white people, or they were the dominant one, and at the same time in London, in England, in Britain, those leaders were so-called white, then who were they fighting against? That means they were fighting against their own people. Now, why would you be fighting against your own people? It could be a couple of reasons. Your own people enslaved you, or the real truth is it wasn't your people that was in charge. And that's the truth. It was so-called black people, the nobles that were in charge in Europe. And they were the ones enslaving everybody. And that's why these pale-skinned people wanted their freedom from their so-called black, their black enslavers. So when you really know the truth, you get a better understanding of why so many pale-skinned people have a disdain and a dislike for so-called black people. They don't care where you come from. Even if they know directly we were not the ones who first enslaved them in the Americas. It happened right where they came from. They were the vagabonds, the criminals, they were in jail, they were enslaved, they were the servants, the subjects of these black nobilities. And not just so-called white people, it was also so-called black people. You see how the same way Obama became the president, and he was the president of all these different multi-ethnicities, it was the same thing in Europe. But these nobilities were people of color. They were people of color. And to make matters worse, when these people came into the United States, because remember, Europe was on the rebound, the reconstructive period from the black slave and all these different plagues. Okay? So when all these people came here as servants, as slaves, they're thinking, well, they're coming to a place where, no, they came to a place where they saw so-called black people walking around free, the Indians. And then the chiefs and the chieftains and all these different people, they joined the black nobility into commerce and formed these companies. Hence the West Indian Company, hence the Virginia Company, Hence the Dutch companies, all these companies have to be done through commerce. And they realize, hold up, we left these enslavers that don't look like us. Now we came into the Americas, and all us, we seen all these so-called black people walking around. They're the Indians, and they're helping enslave us as well. You see, you have to get into the mind of these people and know why there's a disdain for so-called black people from a lot of pale-skinned people. You see, we always want to claim God, but we don't want to claim the devil. We always want to claim being enslaved, but we don't want to claim being the enslaver. You see, hypocrisy is one thing that's going to eat us alive. And we will never be able to repair ourselves, which is what reparations mean, is because we have to forgive ourselves first before we ask anybody to forgive us for what we did or what part that we played. You see, those people, they don't know that part of the story because that's not what they were taught. They were educated in a controlled environment to let them think the way that they think and to talk the way that they were taught to speak. Okay? So when our people went all over the world helping the United States fight, we were helping the United States fight to free pale-skinned people all over the world. That's what World War I was about. Freeing men, Caucasian men that was enslaved all over the world by so-called black people and brown-skinned people. Oh, nobody's telling you that truth, huh? That's what World War I was about. Okay? So she don't know what she's talking about, like many others. But let us proceed. Let us listen some more.
So when we talk about something being a genocide or something being a problem, I think our opinion should matter and it should be listened to very closely. In terms of reparation, the emphasis should be lineage-based. I am not only a media personality in alternative media, independent media, but I am also a spiritual teacher.
Now, she said that reparations, in her mind, as to what it means, should only be lineage-based. And she's also a spiritual teacher, all right? Now, I'm not going to knock that. You believe what you believe, who you are. I can tell you who you are. I can tell you what your abilities are. But she said that reparation should only be lineage-based. I'll break that down a little further. Listen some more.
I've had supernatural encounters since I was a child. And so the thing that I'm having here, even with you here, sir, is prophetic. It was prophesied years ago. And I must tell you, what I'm saying to you is not even an opinion. It is something that I want you, with respect and great humility, to remember.
All right. So she claims that she is prophetic, and the experience that she's having with Kennedy, she basically saying that she saw it, right? Well, why didn't you know that our ancestors did not come here on slave ships? If you were prophetic, why didn't you see that? If you were prophetic, how don't you know that we first enslaved the people? How don't you know that part? If you are prophetic, how don't you know that we are indigenous and we are not black? You see, when people are talking, you have to listen and pay attention. All right. Now, I'm not saying that she isn't, but I'm just questioning those things. Why didn't you see all of that? Let us proceed.
There is an unseen government, and they're actually using you as well as your family. And no matter who's paying you, which is suspect right now, and no matter how your positions seem to be divergent and doesn't quite make much sense when we see how strongly you are on so many other issues of justice. But when it comes down to the issues of reparations, and when it comes down to this notion of ceasefire, which is absolutely nothing at all, and your extraordinary and misguided defense of Israel, it is a serious problem. I want you to understand that whatever you decide to do, whoever it is that's backing you, and whatever your thought process, and no matter what you think about it, you're supposed to represent the people. And the majority of the people are telling you, no matter what you think about Israel, we said no. And we want to hear you say what we say in the majority. So whatever you individually think should not take precedent over the majority of us. And especially when you see folk like us talk.
All right, let's stop right here. I got to go address the lineage based. Okay. Reparations cannot be lineage based, because if you want to know the truth and you really dig too deep into the lineage, then you will find out that the so-called black people over the Americas are the real Indians, and we also played a part in slavery. My sister, do you really think you want to go down that rabbit hole? Because you have no idea what you're talking about. And she's talking about, well, we are the majority, meaning that the people are the majority. No, they're not. Because if they were the majority, then it would be the majority vote that put the president in office. No, it's a minority vote that put the president in office, as in the people who own the corporation. They are the ones that put the president in office, not the majority. She has no idea what she's talking about. So you see, when you listen to people, a lot of times it sounds good. But when you truly know the truth, you are able to dissect all those. You're able to dissect it and see it has no substance. And even with me, I tell people, don't believe anything that I say. Prove me wrong. And if I'm wrong, I will step up and I will do a video and apologize for bringing misinformation. That's just who I am. Because I'm the real one. I'm one of the real ones. And I grow in my knowledge because I am real about it. You dig? So she don't know what she's talking about. You are not the majority. We are not the majority. Whether I'm talking about as a collective. Because if it were, it would be the majority of the votes that pick the president. The millions and millions of people that vote, and vote means to pledge to a God. Okay, and what does it say on the dollar bill? In God we trust. The government is God. They are the ones playing God. They created you on the birth certificate. They are God. Okay, and I'm not talking about the righteous supreme God of the multiverse. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about within the creation of this realm of what they created on paper and they have control over, which you think is you. They are God. All right? And it's a corporation. It's a business. And they already know who the president is. The votes ain't got nothing to do with it. So my sister, you are wrong. You are not the majority. Okay? It is literally a handful of people that's making the decisions for the majority. You have nothing to do with it. Your vote is an illusion, thinking that you are controlling anything or the people are controlling anything. That's the way it's supposed to be, but it's not. Okay? It's not. And all these people are getting paid. I agree with her on that. They have bosses, and the president is not the boss. Okay? Not even the legislative body is the boss. Let us proceed.
That should hold greater weight because of our unique position. Let me say this. Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever, that considering numbers, nature, and natural means only a revolution of the wheel of fortune, listen, and exchange of situation is among possible events, that it may become probable for supernatural interference. This was from Thomas Jefferson. He understood that the hell that they brought upon the foundation of Black America, who's responsible for the creation of America, based on our Black blood that was shed on our nightmare, this American dream to which many flee from around the world. He said, and he knew that there was going to be a moment of justice that America would have to pay. So there was nothing.
But real quick, I'm getting a signal from the back also. Vicky, you have a question? I don't. No question, a comment. Yes, I want to finish my comment. How many do I have? A few seconds left? Sure. Thank you. No question. And the reason there's no question is because I've watched you, and particularly some of your exchanges or your promise exchange you were supposed to have with Max Blumenthal, who was the foremost authority on this notion of Israel. And I've noticed how you've come down when it comes down to reparations. So it's not my job to try to ask a question about this. I want you to remember what I say and consider the things that I'm saying. I'm almost finished. Reparations is lineage, should be lineage based. And so long as we can prove that our ancestors were enslaved, that should be the emphasis, lineage based reparations.
You see, and that's the problem. You see what I'm saying? Lineage-based reparations, as long as you could prove your ancestors were enslaved. Well, guess what? Everybody was enslaved. Everybody was enslaved. Now, what's going to shock her is this. When she really dig into that rabbit hole and find out it was your ancestors were the ones that were the first enslavers. Oh, I don't think they're ready for this. I don't think they're ready for this. See, everybody want to dig this rabbit hole, but they don't know how far it goes and what to expect in this rabbit hole. You see, and I'm not knocking her for her lack of knowledge because she wasn't taught the truth. But those are the people with the PhDs and the MHDs and the BHDs. And those are the people that society listened to. But nah, You see, I don't have no doctorate. I don't have no degree from no school or college and none of that. I don't have none of that. So maybe that's why I'm not viral. Maybe that's why it's not going. Maybe maybe that's why people don't. That's why they don't take me serious. I don't know. But you see, that type of information that she's putting out, it get thousands and thousands and thousands of views. That's interesting. But I'm gonna hold this other thought until we finish this video.
Lineage-based reparations is a debt America owes. It is not you being altruistic or philanthropic. It is owed, and America must pay her debt. And I should say this, when I talked about the interconnection between the spiritual aspect of Thomas Jefferson, he understood that no matter what you try to put forward, whether it's vaccines, whether it's the economy, whether it's the drama between the political parties, it is interconnected to the fact that you've not dealt with the original sin. So you're going to have hell in every area in America and around the world if we don't get justice. You understand? My last point. Judith Varney Shore. Do you know who she is? Former Israeli consul. And the meeting was recorded. I did multiple broadcasts on this. You can Google it. It'll pop up. She said a few years ago, as an Israeli government official, that the problem with Israel is Black American youth. No congressional hearing was had. We find out that the issue with the police department, many police officers in the United States are trained by the Mossad and Israeli soldiers. They come here and they fly over there. And they have actually traced credibly some of the training to some of the actual injuries and murders of our people here in these United States of America. And $4 billion every year as Israel's existence would be a hell of a down payment for our reparations. So I would say that to you, brother. And I would say to consider that America has no choice. And perhaps you were called for such a time as this, because you have a level of energy that has to do with justice and this unusual grouping of the danger that you pose to both sides could go further when you do right by us. So this resistance, last point that you have with reparations, this resistance that you have, if that isn't dealt with, you're going to run into problems in more ways than one.
Thank you, Vicki. And
let me address a couple of things that you said.
All right, so it loops back to the beginning. So he didn't even get a chance to respond. That was the end of the video. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to get back to you, my people, right here. Okay, now what are we going to do is this now. Give me 1 second. All right, let me just pause this real quick. Give me 1 second. Hold on for 1 second. All right, I'm back. All right, so now check this out. Let me break a couple of things down for y'all. All right, now what I'm going to do before I break anything down, let me just get here into let me go into the comments and just see where everybody's at right now. And like I said, I'm just going to highlight a couple of comments, I'm saying, as we go through, because we're gonna build. All right, so greetings, Empress, greetings to you as well. All right, we got my sister Mahogany. I think she's in Jamaica. Big up yourself, right? Because all right, no, we said self-preservation. All right, what did you say here now? You said good selection, because he's gonna curb the restrictions. All right. Okay, I'm not sure what exactly you mean by that. You also said that They are not gonna give us reparations, Chief. Let me see. They view us as property. Reparations would free us from that label. Well, self-preservation, I will get on that in a minute. All right. So regardless of what, we'll break down what reparations really mean, which I've already done, but we'll get into all of that. Right now, it says Harriet Tubman was a bounty hunter, a slave catcher for $50 per move to location. But like I said, Harriet Tubman, whether she was a bounty hunter or not, the bottom line is Harriet Tubman was of the descendants of the Stuart. She's a noble. All right. And the people that she actually freed was her own people. All right. Who else do we have on here? Big up yourself, Zazie. Wago on, right? All right. Who else do we have? We have Amina Love. What's going on? Big up. All right. Now, who else do we have? OG, what it is. It says, I'm a bit late, but here, nevertheless, Grand Rising lineage, what it is. All right. Who else do we have? Okay, so we have Chief Black Hawk, big up and respect lineage, what it is. And we also have Chief Blackbird, big up yourselves. All right. And we have on Facebook, like I said, we have Brother Walker, we have Antonia Barrow, we have Kelly Slim Goody, Sister Valerie. Who else do we have? We have Leandra, and like I said, Chief Black Hawk. All right. So just want to give everybody a little bit of acknowledgement, for joining the live. All right. So let's get into this right now. Okay. So a couple of things we're going to continue to build on what the sister concluded with. All right. In regards to the lineage of reparations should only be done through lineage. Now, I've already broken that down. I'm not sure she want to go down that rabbit hole because it's really going to be exposed. All right. That was our people who initiated the slavery. Okay. We initiated the slavery. You feel me? And what we're dealing with is a karma. But that's not being taught. Because we always have to be seen, or it always have to be portrayed as we are the underdogs. We are the ones that was only enslaved, but not talking about when we were doing the enslaving. Okay. And they'll tell you, oh, well, it was so-called, yes, Native American owned slaves. No, Native Americans were also enslaved. And when they joined the Union that became the United States and they were put in position, yes, they themselves started owning slaves. You see, because I keep telling y'all, life is fair. Life is fair. Too many people talk about, oh, well, life is not fair. No, it is, because everybody get a chance of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Whether it's in this manifestation, the next one, or the last, it doesn't matter. Everybody's going to get a taste of it. Everybody who was a god became a slave. Everybody who's a slave will revert to being a god. Okay? Now, when she talk about the connection between the so-called black people and the Jews, let me explain something. Well, not the Jews, but the Jewish or Israel. I've already broken that down in videos, and I broke it down eloquently in the book, Genesis to Reevaluation. If you go to the website, myniji.com, that's on the screen right now, you could get your copy. I broke it down. Okay? Let me tell you the real connection and the real relationship and the real interconnection between the so-called Jewish and the so-called black people. Or not necessarily the Jewish, but the Israel. Because Israel is broken down into two components. They're not teaching you that. You got higher Israel and you got lower Israel, which is the higher self and the lower self. Because first, we have to go into the word Israel, what it truly means. Because it came from the name Jacob or Yakub, because the letter J did not exist, so it was Yakub. It came from the word Yakub. And it means, Israel means one who contends with God. In other words, one who strives with God. So if you are fighting for God on behalf of God, you are Israel. It doesn't matter what you look like. However, you have two God energies. You have the unrighteous God and you have the righteous God. One is considered Satan and one is considered God. Okay? And it's all in the Bible. You just can't see it because a lot of people are too blind to see it. And that's why Jacob, in the Bible, his whole lineage started with a lie. from Abraham, who lied and said Sarah was his wife. That whole foundation of Israel started on a lie. So that was the inception of the lower Israel. Israel that worshiped the lower unrighteous God, which is the people that you see today. They are the lower Israel. They are absolutely correct. They are Israel. But people don't know exactly what that means. They are Israel because why? The God of this world, which is Satan, which is also in the Bible, and not the Satan that you think. The Lord God in the Bible is Satan. But most of people don't know that. You don't know that because they're not teaching you the truth. So the connection literally is about the higher and the lower self. That is the true spiritual connection. And the higher self enslaved the lower self. And because life is fair, there had to be a cycle. Then the lower self had to not re-enslave, but enslave the higher self. And that's what we dealt with. And that's why these people that you call Israel are in charge right now, because it was the lower self enslaving the higher self. And that is the connection between us and them. So when we're truly looking for reparations, who are we looking for reparations from? Is it from ourselves or the people that we enslaved first? Oh, you see, y'all don't want the truth though. Y'all don't want the truth. You want to be God, but you don't want to. You don't want to choose the title of creating the devil or you being the devil. You want to go to heaven, but you don't want to die. The hypocrisy. You dig? I don't care what y'all say about me. And I'm always going to speak the truth because you know why? Only the truth will set us free. And I'm always going to bring the truth. I'm always going to bring the truth. Always, whether it hurts or not. I like the truth because the truth is loving. The truth is painful. I take it whichever way it comes. Now let us go into the etymology of the word reparations, which I've already broken down. Okay? I've already broken that down, but let's get into it. And I've already explained to you what the etymology of a word is. It means the root of the word, the foundation, the creation, the energy of the word. Late 14th century, reparation. It means what? Repair, an act of mending, period. That's it. That's it. We don't need to go any further. What it becomes after that, it doesn't matter. In the first paragraph, the first sentence, the first word, it means to repair, an act of mending. And after you have mended yourself, you have repaired yourself, then you are able to get compensation and satisfaction for your injury. Okay? That's when you get your payment, so to speak. Now, I've also used the word redress. I'm gonna address that as well. Now, so when we look at the word reparations, all reparations truly means to repair, to mend. Because why? It says it is from the past participle and it stems and it came from the root. It says, see what? Restoration, the act of repairing. It says what? What it became in between is not relevant because it's wordplay, it's spells. It means what? Let's go into repair now. That's where it came from. The word repair means to mend, put back in order, to restore, to put back into complete condition. So when we talk about repairing, to put back, yes, we need reparations because we need to be put back in our rightful place. Our birthright needs to be restored. That's the true reparation. It is not what people think it is. It is not what they think it is. Our birthright needs to be restored, not in fiat currency, because our people, the majority of our people, are not financially competent. When they get that money, they're going to spend it on Jordans, iPhones, and it's going right back to the people you think that enslaved you. So that is not true reparation. The true repair or restoration means that you have to step back into who you truly are. as the original indigenous people of the land. That's the first form of restoration. That's what repair means. And when we get it, we don't have to ask for fiat currency, because why? We become the landlords and the ladies back again of the land. So basically we own all the wealth. Man, listen, man, I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else to teach it to you. I don't know man, listen, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing, man. Just bring the information, and it is what it is. You know, whatever ears it fall on, let it fall on those ears, right? I'm going to look again at redress. Redress. Because redress I've used in the past. I've said that, oh, well, we don't need reparations. We need redress. Even me, myself, I stand to be corrected. Because like I told you before, I'm growing like everybody else. The difference between me and a lot of people is this. When I identify the errors that I made or the misinformation that I brought, I go and I correct it. That's the difference between me and a lot of people. And I'm man enough to tell you that redress is not even the proper term. Okay? It's not redress, because why? Redress, the etymology of redress means to correct, reform. That's cool. To correct and reform. But it's now absolute. All right? So redress is the same thing to restore. It's the same thing. As you could see, it says right here, restore, put right. So yes, we need restoration, we need redress, and we need reparations in regards to our identity and our nationality. But it has nothing to do with fiat currency. Now, let me explain to you what we should be talking about when it comes to monetary value. We're talking about payment. Oh my goodness, Chief, I'm not sure if they're ready for this, but payment is the correct and most appropriate word. What is payment? Okay, payment, action of paying, repaying of a debt. And she did mention the debt. You see, they owe us a debt, regardless of what the situation is. The Americas was a sanctuary for them because they came from Europe as slaves, and they came from the Black Plague, and we gave everything that they have today is because of us, the sacrifices that we made, whether we were the enslavers or the ones that became enslaved. Okay, we have to get payment because a debt is owed. All right, now you see the difference. That's the difference. But what's even more important than the payment, than the physical money or the tangible fiat currency is redress and reparations, but not in the context of what people think. It is in the context of us restoring ourselves back into our original identity as the original people of the Americas. You feel me? Now, once you truly get this, then your mind is clear. Then we have a more of a definitive path towards restoration, towards reparations, towards redress before we get the payment. Because the payment comes from the reparations, which means to repair ourselves as the indigenous people, restore ourselves. In other words, get back and claim back our birthright. Somebody talk to me, because I know I'm talking to somebody or somebodies. So not every time we hear the Dr. Clark Anderson and the Roland Martins and the Umar Johnson, all these people, it sound good, but they don't realize that they're casting spells. They don't realize that because nobody taught them that with their degree that they got. I got my degrees from the sun, and that's the highest degree you could get. I got my degrees from nature. I get my degrees from within. That's the highest degrees that you could get. Why? Because the power and the kingdom of God is within me, and therefore God is in me, and that's where I get my knowledge from my ancestors. They are my gods. They came before me. We are all gods, but they are the predecessors of me in this physical flesh. So that's the ones I acknowledge. Those are the ones I honor. Those are the ones I ask for guidance and direction, and they give it to me very clearly. I'm able to look at anything and break it down the way it's supposed to be broken down. I do it like that because I get the word. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word became God. So whenever you speak, you're speaking God. So right now I'm Godding. God is an action word, which means to evoke. It means to pour libation. And you heard that thing say low battery. I don't want nobody making fun of me, okay? In talking about, oh, well, you need to fix your fire thing. All right. I told y'all before. Yesterday was the first time it came on and you talk about low battery. All right. So let's not focus on that and get distracted, because a lot of old people like to get distracted. All right. So I'm not going to make this video extra long. Been on here for about 55 minutes, couple more minutes and I'm done. The point I'm making is this: we have to put this in context, and we got to stop calling the United States America. You see, only educated people do stuff like that. Let us call it what it is: the United States. Okay, that's just all it is. And everybody that's crying death on America, we have to be careful what we are talking about, because we, the righteous children of the Americas, we're going to get caught up in the nonsense because of your damn ignorance. Because you keep calling the United States America. It is not. So when you look at who own and control everything right now, who do you think control and own everything right now? It is the lower self. It is the lower self that's controlling everything. The lower Israel. You see, people don't get it, man. Not the higher Israel. You see, y'all don't get this thing because nobody taught you what it meant. And you haven't gotten the memo from the ancestors of what it truly means. There's two Israel, the lower one and the higher one. The higher self and the lower self, because all Israel means, let's not get it complicated. All Israel means is one who contends with God, one who strives for God. The question is which God? Because Satan, the adversary, is also a God. And what did it say in the Bible? Satan was given the world to rule for 6,000 years. So therefore, Satan is the God of this world. Now let me ask you a question. Who was the one who killed all the people in the Bible? The God in the Bible, right? Who was the one that told Noah, I'm going to kill everybody on earth and save you and your wife and your sons? The God in the Bible, right? Who was the one in the Bible that told this gentleman, if you don't sleep with your brother's wife and bust a seed in her, okay, you're going to die because you choose not to do it because you did not want to sleep with your brother's wife? Even if you were forced to do it, but you ejaculated on the sheet instead, you got murdered for that. Who was the one who told the people in the Israelites in the Bible, go into all these different lands and kill people and take baby and rape women? It was the God in the Bible. Who was the one that Satan, after he came from roaming the earth, went before him, and then that God asked him, have you thought of my servant Job? It wasn't Satan who initiated. It wasn't Satan who made the contract. It wasn't Satan that did that to Job. No, Satan was used as a tool to do it. Who was the one who actually did it? The God in the Bible. Who was the one that said in Isaiah 45 verse 7, I created the lightness and the dark. I created good and evil. It was the God in the Bible. So why y'all blaming Satan for everything and not blaming the God who actually created all of it? And then he gave his chosen people, the lower vibrational people, to rule everything. So who's ruling everything right now? Those are his chosen people. See, y'all don't know what the hell y'all talking about. But y'all in such denial. It's insane. The higher Israel has not risen yet, which is us. And when I say us, I'm talking about the ones that contend and strive for the true righteous God. That's what the high Israel means, the high priests, the high lords. So until y'all get this and y'all agree to start coming together and strive for the righteous God, then the lower Israel will always rule. Until Mother Nature said, I have enough of this and everybody going to pay the price. Y'all think I don't know what I'm talking about? Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Okay? So, with that being said, I'm about to get out of here. I wish y'all an amazing 24. I'm not going to apologize for my harsh delivery. I'm not going to apologize for my passion because I realize that a lot of people are blinded. I get it. But I'm going to continue to speak life into you. I'm going to continue to speak growth into you. I'm going to continue to send righteousness your way. But regardless of when it's all said and done, remember what I said in the video yesterday? We get exactly what we deserve. Not what you want, what you need. No, it doesn't work that way. That's the way it may appear. Okay, so that you escaped all of your how would I put it, your accountability. Right? No. You get what you deserve. Respect, Nebo. I think it's Nebo opposed to Nebo. I think it's Nebo. Respect. All right, no doubt. Respect. All right. But those of us who truly get this, all right, we need to be, yes, we are actually on the same frequency, right? But we are in different locations. So we still need to unite and connect because we are the shape shifters. We are the ones that's going to put things in perspective. Can you imagine? Big up to my sister, Diane Coy, and big up Cheryl May and all that. All right. I called the county clerk. I've been calling all day, all during the AM. Within the past, before I got on the live, I spent like an hour and a half on the phone calling all these different departments, talking about, where can I file a declaration? And none of them, you see, the gatekeepers, none of them, they can't give me no specific answers. Oh, well, we don't do this, we don't do that. They're gatekeepers. So we can't file documents. We can't do what we're supposed to. That's New York. My brothers and sisters, we got to unite, man. I keep singing that song every day. I don't know what's holding y'all back. I don't know what's the problem. I keep telling y'all I know what to do, and yes, one or two of us could get together, but it's going to take a whole lot more than that. It's going to take a whole lot more. It's only so much that 10, 20, 15 of us could do. And then people come and they expect us to move the world. It can't happen like that, man. Yes, we could make some indentation. We can. But it's going to take a whole lot more. You feel me? It's going to take a whole lot more. So just know this, regardless of what's going on, know it's the lower Israel that's in charge. That's why the corporation have to support that Israel. It's the lower Israel. It is not a place. Israel is not a place. Okay? It is not a place. Israel is an idea. An idea. And what does that idea mean? It means that one who strives with God. Now, we did not say which God. So therefore, it could be the unrighteous God or the righteous God. But both of them exist. And the ones that's in charge right now are the lower vibrational Israel. The higher Israel is the righteous ones. Regardless of color of skin. Israel has nothing to do with skin color. That's why Jacob was in the Bible specking the animals, taking the streak from that one and that one, that one. He was talking about different ethnic groups and complexions and colors. Man, I'm going to put y'all onto game. Sometimes I have to laugh, and I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing at myself sometimes. Because I ask myself sometimes, why am I the one that was given this knowledge or the way to articulate it, to see the truth? Now, there no regrets, but it's tough. It's hard on me. You feel me? And the reason why it's hard on me is because I know exactly what to do. I know where to go. But I can't walk through these doors alone. Well, I can. I refuse to. Because I don't want to be a martyr for nobody. That is not my purpose. Now, if something does happen, then it is what it is. It is what it is. Because I know I'm not the flesh. but I'm not going to intentionally put myself in a position to be a martyr for anybody. Okay? Just earlier, I dropped my sister to work, and coming back, to the house and traveling, and I'm asking my ancestors, why me? Why me? Why don't you assist me? Why don't you, yes, you give me the information, but why don't you do more than that? I mean, I was in a heated debate and battle with the ancestors, talking to them loud. You see what I'm saying? And that was just earlier. I'm telling, like, real talk. Yes, I thank them for giving me information and making things clear to me, but why aren't you giving me more so that I could free my people? But they came to me and said, Chief, it is not time. Everybody's not ready. Everybody's not ready. So I had to fall back. So I'm like asking them, what about the ones that are ready? Why don't you just lead them to the direction of the path that I'm on? Or let me meet them where they are at so we could move forward. And they haven't responded to that just yet. So I guess I just got to chill and continue doing what I'm doing. Because sometimes I have to take my own advice. Everything happening in its own time and season. Okay, yes, the timing may be right, but it's probably not the season. Oh, no doubt, Empress. Yep, the time will come. And I'm being honest. The reason why I get so impatient sometimes is because of my people, because I see what they're going through. I see what they're dealing with, and I hear the complaints that they come to me with, and you know what I'm saying? So I feel that pain. So I want things to happen, that fast for us and for everybody. If it was just for me, I could just chill and relax and just go with the flow and learn to float. But not everybody know how to float. Not everybody know how to swim. So I'm focused on the ones who can't float or who can swim, trying to save them. But I know, again, that I can't save people. They got to save themselves. So that is just one of the characteristics of being a righteous man. You love people. You have empathy and sympathy for people. And you want to see people protected. You want to see people not get hurt. You want to see people live the true meaning of what life was supposed to be. To have dominion, have abundance, love each other. You did. But I get it, though. All right, so brothers and sisters, I'm about to shut this down. I am going to do, I came across some information. So I'm going to do some more research on that. And then once I do, I'm going to do another live today, unless, the ancestors have other plans for me. But expect another live from me. All right. So definitely. And I'm striving so hard to put certain things in place where those of us that are actually of the like minds, we could be in one area. But you know what? Like I said, I can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. You know what I mean? Because we need to be in the same area. You see what I'm saying? Earlier, I was with my mom today. We got into a little heated debate, so to speak, on religion. And I always tell them, I'm saying, like, don't say certain things around me, because if you don't want the truth, you know what I'm saying? Don't say certain things. So we got into a little heated debate, but, I love my mom with all my heart. And regardless of what, I'm always going to love her. You feel me? But religion is crippling our people. That's a whole different story. I'm not even going to get into that right now. All right. But true reparations and true redress, first, it's a spiritual thing. It is not a monetary thing. It's a spiritual thing. And what is the spiritual thing I'm talking about? Is us identifying as who we truly are. We are the American Indians. We are the original people of this land. We are the original indigenous people. We have to start repairing ourselves that way, because all repair means is to restore. So we have to restore our birthright by speaking it. Let there be and there was. And once we start doing that, which more people are doing that, it's a beautiful thing. Which comes the next step is the collective. The collective. Okay? If you realize in the allegorical story, when the allegorical Moses was moving, he wasn't moving alone. He wasn't moving alone. He was moving with Israel. Now, what they're not telling you is that it was two stories happening at the same time. The Moses that was leading the low Israel, and the Moses that was leading the high Israel. They just combined one story and told you one story. It is all allegory. It's all symbolic. All symbolic. So I'm calling the higher Israel, okay? I'm calling the higher Israel, which means the righteous people that strive for the righteous God. We need to move in sync. We need to move together so we could combat the lower Israel and go to war with the lower Israel in the spiritual realm. You see what I'm saying? And then it will manifest in the flesh. Because the lower Israel is what's killing the world right now. And they know exactly what I'm talking about. You see, I'm just making it clear to everybody. I'm breaking it down the way it's supposed to be broken down to everybody. I'm giving you the truth. And only that could resonate with the soul. All right? All right, then. Oh, yes, indeed. I know that I'm not alone. I know that. Yeah, you know, well, put it that way. I'm not lonely. And there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. You see what I'm saying? Or maybe it's the other way. I'm not alone, but I'm lonely. You see what I'm saying? So either way you look at it, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that. Because I'm always by myself. So that means I'm alone. All right? I'm alone, but I'm not lonely because I know there are others like me. And you see, that's how I break words down. I'm alone, but I'm not lonely because I know there are people such as yourselves. And I thank you for that. I thank you for your energy. I thank you for that synergy that we have. And there's nothing wrong with being lonely. You dig? There's nothing wrong with being lonely. Nothing wrong with that, because a lot of times you need that serenity. You need that peace of mind to just chill and cut out all of the distractions. So lonely is good. Loneliness, it can be a little bit daunting. All right? Love you too. Okay. So like I said, man, we'll talk soon. And those of you, my email is always in the link below. And sometimes people reach out to me. I reach out back and I hear from them. I don't sometimes. Sometimes people reach out to me with situations that's beyond my control. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I'm one man, right? I cannot do everything. However, I'm always willing to, you know, share advice or how I feel about certain things. You know what I mean? So my email is in the link below. Feel free to reach out, see what's happening, see what's popping, see how we are moving, whatever we are doing, because we need more people to step up. That's actually on the same frequency, the same vibration. You see what I'm saying? As those of us who are actually aligned with the truth. All right. So we'll talk soon. And like I said before, look out for another possible live from me within a few hours or a little later. I'm going to do my due diligence and do my research first. All right. I love y'all with all my heart, man. For real, for real. All right. I love my people. I love people, period. I don't care what you look like. As long as you are righteous and you're striving for the higher righteous gods, then I'm cool with that. You're good with me. You're my peoples. You're my lineage. You feel me? All right. We'll talk soon. Take care.